welcome to part 4. It's all about the learnings. So in part 3, you've worked on your mindset. So now you've got a super strong growth mindset and you're really ready to dive into this. So let's look at ways to translate all this information into learnings and, more importantly, to move on. So firstly, I invite you to be curious. We've talked about that before, but really be curious about all the information you've received and what that means. And also don't kind of like integrate it too quickly by passing judgment or by assuming it says something when in fact it's saying something else. So just take a moment to be curious about what is being said and what the feedback you received. Secondly, get to the learning. And for that, I'm asking you to make sure you fully understand what is being said. And that might sound really daft, but when you get the feedback, just ensure that it's clear and that you understand it. Don't leave your review meeting if you've got the slightest doubt on something or if there is a misunderstanding. Just make sure you're crystal clear on what came out of the conversation, because otherwise you just can't work with what is being given to you. So if somebody is telling you, oh, you're not a good speaker, when, how, what did I do, what did I say? You know, you need all of that in order to do the analysis required and integrate that learning. And really doing that, again, it really kind of like confirms you in your role as a leader of this process, and it makes you feel really good about owning this process. All of this, I've got all this information, all this feedback, is something that's going to help me further my career and develop myself, and I'm feeling super good about it, and I'm the one driving it. So that's, again, it's mindset, but it's super, super important that you get clear and you get the information you need. Then it's about analyzing and integrating that information. And that may sound a bit cold and robotic, but it isn't. It's a really crucial step to ensure that all these learnings become insights that you can actually use. Otherwise, it's just nice information. So I'm suggesting you do 4 things. The first one is understand what is to be tackled. So I've got all these pieces of feedback, all these learnings. What bucket do I put them in? Is it a hard skill challenge? Is it a soft skill challenge? Is it a behavior challenge? Just be clear and understand what it is that you need to tackle. The second thing is don't forget the good stuff. The good stuff shows skills and strength that you have and that you'll most likely need in order to develop other aspects and other behavior. So really don't forget to include it in that process. Third point is, can you see a pattern emerging? Can you see a number of buckets, and what do they say? Is there kind of a specific skill that keeps coming back in different type of feedback? So that, again, that just makes it easier to see what kind of bubbles up to the surface. And the final question here is, what am I going to do differently? So all of that you can then either work on your own, or once you've done that work, you can then sit down again with your manager to prepare your development plan. But it's really important to do that analysis first. Then the next aspect, which is important as well, is close the case, end it. That's it. Don't go over and over in your head about what's been said or what's been done. That's it. Don't dwell on it. You got what you needed out of the process. That's it. it's just a waste of time and energy to just keep kind of like rewriting the story in your head. And also, don't make up stories. You know, you got some feedback. If you're not clear, as I said before, just ask for clarification, but don't kind of like jump to conclusion or anything like that. And also, a very important question: are you more interested in kind of like over analyzing 2017, or are you keen to build a strong 2018 and a strong development plan? Because now that's where you need to move towards to. So, case closed, you got all that you needed, you've done the work, and you've done some great work. I'm not talking about kind of what you achieved in 2017, but just this whole process, I think you've done brilliantly, but you need to kind of like move on now. Okay, so here's a recap, and I'll see you in part 5.